Up next on course, we're going to be exploring global communities through gaming and computer science. Welcome and thanks for joining us for On Course, an Anne Arundel County Public Schools journey. We intend to take you on a fascinating trip throughout the county to feature the amazing that happens in each and every day in all of our classrooms. Our travels will explore all aspects of the Division of Academic and Strategic Initiatives, whose focus is directed solely on supporting all students on their learning journey. Our show today features an exciting and innovative path that some of our students have elected to explore, and we're delighted to have Stephanie Kelly, Senior Manager for the Office of Instructional Technology, here to share in that journey. Stephanie, welcome and thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Skip. It's a pleasure.
Can you take a moment and tell us a little bit about yourself and about the office that you oversee?
Yes, the Office of Instructional Technology oversees technology integration throughout the county. We help teachers integrate technology into their classroom. We also oversee the online program and the application of and administration of all of our applications, such as Discovery Ed and Blackboard.
Very good, thanks. Well, for today's purposes, we're going to be talking about the gaming piece that we've brought. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the where we found out about it and where we are today in terms of that new initiative?
Okay, so we heard about Carnegie Mellon working with a company called Zulama about developing a gaming curriculum.
Okay.
We were very excited about that, and so we decided to take a tour to Pittsburgh on a couple schools that were implementing the curriculum.
Good.
The first school we went to was they were implementing the game design, and it was very, very interesting about how they were looking at the evolution of games and the history of games and comparing ancient Egypt games and different cultures to today's culture. And they were playing games and making comparison to present day.
Oh, cool.
So the other school we went to, they were actually making games, their own games, and they were using dice, multifaceted dice. They were making boards and cards and avatars and so forth, and they were testing and writing directions, and then they were, having other groups try to play their games and trying to perfect the games, and every student in there was engaged, and we were very excited to see that. We were talking to a couple boys in this one group, girls too, that were working on a game, and I said that would be a perfect game for an app, and the students got very excited. So they even stayed after the bell talking about the teacher had to write them a pass to go. So that made us very excited. So we decided this is something we needed to bring back to Anne Arundel County Public Schools.
Cool. And so that the problem solving and that really is kind of a great foundation to start the idea of making games.
Yeah, I mean, when you and I were little, we played games all the time, board games. Today they're video games. There's not a lot of board game playing. So the problem solving and the strategic thinking and the consequences of if you make this move, it's better to make this, the next steps, we're kind of missing. And we saw that as we were going around and touring the classrooms, that those things were being developed, and that was very exciting.
So you've got the evolution of gaming course and that focus, but then that kind of lends itself to a computer component of gaming design.
So we started slow to go fast at Arundel last year, but then we noticed that the kids were very excited that they needed the next step. So this year we've implemented the computer science part on game design.
Nice, and that's been well received?
Oh, yes.
That's really cool.
I think you're about to see that.
Yeah, let's head on out to Arundel High School to see exactly what's happening there in their classrooms. So we're out here at Arundel High School. I want to welcome everybody. This is Stephen Tibbs, one of the teachers here, and we're in a computer science gaming classroom. As we talked earlier with Stephanie, this is kind of the next step on where students in this program are going. So Steve, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for coming out.
So tell us a little bit about this class. Like what's the background and how it actually came to be?
Sure. So it's titled as an Intro to Computer Science class with a gaming element to it.
Okay.
It was pitched last year, and last year I was teaching web design classes and other computer science classes. Cool. And our administration is very supportive of computer science, and they pitched this class to me, and I said I would love to take the opportunity to do this. It casts a really wide net to bring in more students to computer science.
Okay.
In general, we just want to offer it to as many students as possible because careers are requiring computer science these days. It's not an option anymore. So we're thrilled to have it at school here.
So you snuck it in there, but the title of this course is a gaming element.
It is, yes.
So talk to me a little bit about that. What does that mean?
So we are enticing students to get into computer science through this gaming element, which is the exciting part. Our students are gaming, they love gaming, and students have the opportunity in this class to get the fundamentals or the basics of building a computer science, or building a game rather.
Okay.
We're using a programming language called JavaScript, which is the most popular language in the tech field right now.
Okay.
So our students are working on JavaScript animations is where we are right now with the students.
So not only are they having an engaging sort of experience, but they're actually learning a skill that could be transferable. Yeah?
This is very true. Yeah. So we are looking for them to take this skill, and they're applying their math knowledge through the school. So it's an application. They're taking what they've learned from around with other subjects, and
Right.
they're bringing it to life here. So that's the most exciting standpoint for me, is I get to see them apply the knowledge they've been acquiring and then build upon that.
So I'm a kid at home, and I've got my game system. I'm not going to really
Sure.
go for any particular
Xbox
one.
One.
Yeah, right, all of those, right? And do I have to have had some experience at that level, or does this students in this class really could just jump in from anywhere?
Oh no, they can come in from anywhere. The class is designed for a student who has really no computer knowledge. As long as they can come in and
all right.
use a keyboard and a mouse, they're ready for this class. So we start at the very basics, and it's not just a programming class. We also have elements of computer science all throughout the class. So it is a general computer science class with many units in gaming involved.
So I was talking to Ms. Davenport, your principal, about this, and so her kind of philosophy was she wanted rigor, she wanted kids to really be challenged,
Yes.
she wanted problem solving, and this whole piece of the being able to use what you learn application piece. Tell us really how this class supports those goals.
So I go back to, they are using mainly algebra for this,
very interesting.
and geometry as well with the programming. So the rigor comes in when students are challenged to, first of all, be creative. So the creative aspect is also intertwined with the course. So they have to think algorithmically, which is thinking in very specific steps,
Okay.
and being able to tell a computer, which a computer is just really it's a box, and you have to tell it what to do. So they're applying all of their mathematical skills, their creativeness, and as well as just kind of building out these little stories or little games, I guess we can call them. So
And this is coding, is that
yeah,
background?
so it's all again, it's all coding, and I think that's where the math comes into this aspect.
Okay.
So and I challenge them with projects daily, and they are really, I think, engaging in a material that they feel like they can potentially take further than just this class.
So we're into the school year, and what have you seen as the most significant growth in terms of their capacity?
Sure. So I've seen, so I have a very, since the class is new, I have a rather varied student body in this course.
Perfect.
Specifically.
I love the
So I have
idea.
everyone from early high school students to up to seniors, and so I have a wide array. And what I've seen is, I think a lot of students are grasping, number one, that programming a game is maybe more difficult than they thought.
Okay.
So it's not as simple as maybe they came in, they play on these consoles you were referring to,
Sure.
and they're like, I want to build the next Call of Duty, for example. And I think they're realizing that there's a lot of work that goes into that. And so that is what I'm seeing, first of all. And second of all, I'm seeing their math be applied. So for me, that's the most rewarding part, is being able to work with them and applying these skills.
And let's get a little personal here. How about you? What have you grown in your in terms of your profession? What have you learned the most?
So I have absolutely been devouring myself, just programming in general. I love the computer science world. I came up to, when this opportunity was announced, I was teaching web design courses.
Oh, okay.
So I had and another computer science class as well. I teach an AP computer science principles too. So I just love the idea of growing with my students and developing these JavaScript-based games.
Sounds pretty awesome. What do you think about taking a look at some of the students and what they're working on right now?
I would love to.
So I'm here with Crystal Weed, one of the students here in Mr. Tids' class. Crystal, what motivated you to take this class?
Originally I was in a different class and I just wanted to get out of it, and because it was during third period there was virtually no other options, and then me and my counselor saw this class and had virtually no idea what it was, so I came up here and asked Mr. Tidd what it was, and then I decided to take it.
And has it been fulfilling? Did it kind of solve what you were looking for, something different?
Yeah, it was. So at first I never really knew anything about computers or really anything in general, just with the entire topic. And I just have a lot of fun with it, trying to be creative and doing things that I really like.
So tell me a little bit about what you're learning now. What's on the screen and what are you working on as your class assignment today?
The current unit we're on is images and animations. We're trying to figure out how to make a object appear on the screen and make it do things. And one of the earlier things we did is, which one is this? Is this one. This has to do with randomizing colors.
Okay.
So first I just created a beach scene just so we had something to work off of.
Sure.
And then you see this background.
I do.
That goes with this code right here, which has all the colors, and that's done with RGB, which means red, green, blue. And by changing those numbers, we're able to randomize them every time we reset the thing.
Awesome.
And this is an example. Like, goes from teal to gray, and it moves to change the set, which is really cool.
And by changing the code changes the outcome of what you see on the computer screen.
Yeah, because we have a tool called Random Number that changes the numbers. And since RGB works with, it's like giving colors numbers.
Okay.
Like each color is represented with 3 different colors, like a mixture of red, green, and blue.
Sure.
And with those values, it changes the color.
Going back to my days in visual arts class. Cool, so what are you working on today?
Today we are working a little bit more with randomizing things, but we're taking everything we've learned in this unit and combining it to make one big thing. Currently, I haven't done too much with that, but earlier in the unit we had this just to make sure we had the skills just utilized, and I did this with like a rainbow snake. We had a bunch of circles, and by changing the code, it changes each time you reset it, what height it is, what size it is, what color it's going to be. And here's an example. It doesn't change.
Well, no, I can definitely tell it's moving. It's the shapes and the color sequences. So what I'm visualizing on your screen in that block up to the left is really altered by the code that you steer the computer to respond to, right?
Yes.
So you mentioned you're using your creativity. How do you see what you're learning in this class in any part moving forward?
I just think it's something really fun, and even if I don't go into like a career with it, I feel like it can be used in a lot of things. For example, like art. I'm just going to show an example really quick. I made Batman with just circles and squares and just with code, and I thought that was really cool. And then by doing that, I realized that you can apply coding to anything. You can make it to art. You can, if you get a job and you get good at coding, you can make an app to help people, and you can do a lot of things with it.
So you're learning the backside of how to actually make those sort of products. That's very, very cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for spending some time with us. I'm going to go ahead and transition over to one of your other classmates and learn what he's up to. Thanks for your time. So we're here with Colin Delpo, one of the other students in the class of many. And Colin, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you doing that. Tell us a little bit about your motivation to be involved in this class and this line of coursework here at the school.
Ever since I was like younger, I've been into like filmmaking and video games and how like the coding behind it works with like CGI, which is like graphics in it and films. And I just like wanted to do that for the future, and this is like making me like be able to do that in the future.
Had you had any experience prior to this class
No.
and that sort of stuff? So it's almost an answer to a lifelong aspiration. That's awesome. So Mr. Tidd and Ms. Davenport created this class last year to give kids that opportunity. Tell us some of the stuff up to now that you've done so far.
Up to now with this class, I've learned how to make shapes inside the codes, and I've learned how to add color, make websites.
Oh, cool.
And so yeah.
So what are you working on right now?
Right now, I'm made like a kind of disco floor with my code, and whenever you run it, it will randomize the colors of the floor and the lights. And to do this, I had rectangles for each spot on the floor.
Okay.
And then I made it with random colors with an RGB scale, which is red, green, blue. And then for the lights, I did the same thing with random colors, but I used lines to make it, and I increased the stroke weight to 10, which made it fatter. And then for the disco ball, I kind of just made it like a circle and had that be placed in the middle, so it looks like it was an actual club type thing.
Can you go ahead and run it a couple of frames? So every splash, you're getting a change of the
Change
line
of all the
colors, and then
colors.
very cool. Are you planning to like put little flashes in the background? I'm just kidding. So this class is a kind of a stepping stone, and we talked a little bit about your interest in filmmaking and that. Where do you think this? Give me some ideas of what you think this class could evolve into.
I think it could help just in general with jobs in the future, because every day we're making advancements in technology.
Sure.
And technology involves coding, so this is like the first step to doing that.
That's awesome. And so Mr. Tidd earlier talked about Java. It's one of the languages. And so you're really becoming proficient in the use and development of that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome. Can you give me an example of some of the math that went into this?
Yeah, so basically if you put like, if I take the background out with that and then reset it, you'll have just the white.
Okay.
And then if you show the grid, you'll have just a grid plot with your X and Y axis in a positive range. And basically you just, when you want like a rectangle somewhere specific, like down here, you would take the top left corner and have it be like, it says X is 0,
Yep.
Y is 300.
So
and
coordinate
you'd have
plane
it-
and
yeah.
a whole lot of geometry. That's very cool. Well, look, I appreciate you joining us. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Matheny, thank you so much for letting us come into your classroom here at Arundel High School. And my goodness, there's so much going on behind us and in front of us. I'm not really sure where to start. So why don't we just start with you?
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about the class, about your involvement in the class and the evolution of the class.
All right. Our principal, Ms. Davenport, in an effort to find classes and curriculum that is not only academic, but that is engaging, came upon a gaming curriculum. I'd like to think I was the first person she came to, top 5. And she said, Mr. Matheny, would you be interested, in coming on this adventure, this journey, teaching this class, exploring global communities through gaming, which is based off of the evolution of gaming, Zulama, a company called Zulama curriculum.
This is awesome. And so, were you a gamer as a kid? Do you find this as a natural fit? Where's...
I was. I'm a history major.
Okay.
Wasn't too active in gaming, but as a kid, as a young person, I loved games. I love video games. Love role-playing games. Fell out of that, middle school to high school. But this has been an awesome experience getting back into that.
So you just said you're a history buff too. So this whole evolution of gaming, the studying civilizations and cultures through gaming, that does hit a niche area.
It is structured like a history class, where we start with the earliest game in recorded history, a game called the Royal Court of Ur. We look at
this is it here.
this is a replica copy.
Okay.
We study the culture, right? We break it down like a history class. Like we look at documents, we look at the social and political aspects of that culture, and then we play the game. We make the game, and then we play the game, and then we reflect back on that game.
Very cool. So
So we're like Howard Hughes, without the pathology.
the idea of this game, of this course, is going to be not only well, you started at the beginning, which is obviously the evolution
Or is
piece,
the
but
beginning.
and we're coming up to the current, or you're gonna
It'll come up. It'll come to contemporary games,
Okay.
which you see many, numerous,
yeah.
spread out in front of us. Which, when I find a thematic tie or a mechanical tie within a game, we will take time.
associations of those. Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
So I'm a kid who played Life and Stratego and Battleship and those sort.
Those are the games I played as a kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but there's been a lapse. Obviously, we've evolved much beyond that. Tell me how you plan to engage the kids in terms of the association of these games and the principles behind their rules with the evolution piece.
Well, we continuously go through the historical games. The more contemporary games we work in when we break down either theme or mechanics. Usually when we talk about a game, we're talking about what that game is about, the story behind that game, the theme, or the actual mechanics of how it's played. So if you took Life for an example, it's a roll to move game.
Yep.
You roll, you move, you do what the board says. Is more of an abstract race game, but you have games that are more strategic. You have bidding games, you have bluffing games, you have war games. So whenever I find an opportunity to blend a mechanic, I grab from one of these games and pull that in.
I love it. So we're here as a stepping stone to talk about some computer-generated games, but really those come from imagination and the understanding principles behind what gaming is. So where do you see the evolution of games, this course curriculum supporting that computer development of gaming?
Sure. Well, the curriculum from which this class was developed, they envision multiple branches. The one that Arundel High School has embraced is the actual programming, the construction of computer games.
Okay.
So we are creating classes. Ms. Davenport is offering and creating classes and finding teachers that are enthusiastic about teaching those classes that teach students how to code with an emphasis on creating games.
And so the principles of the actual interaction, what we're doing here in this classroom, as well as those themes that go really create the foundation upon which those other computer-generated games can grab some foundation.
Sure. Well, even if one of these doesn't dovetail with learning how to code a game, we have we have ties to English curriculum. There are tendrils, obviously, to the history curriculums. So it's pretty multidisciplinary.
It really is interconnected.
Yeah.
What do you say we go ahead and take a look at seeing what some of the kids are up to? So Maria, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate you taking time out from your class to give us a little bit of information from a student's perspective on what this evolution of gaming or the study of cultures and communities through a gaming lens might look like. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you guys were doing today?
So today we're playing It is like one of the first recorded games in history from one of the early societies in the world.
Okay.
They were developed enough to have enough free time to have a game to entertain themselves. So it's a racing game, and pretty much with the dice, you can roll it, and it tells you what kind of moves you can make.
Okay.
So like anywhere from 1 to 4, it's like the placements that you can move. But if you get a 5, then you skip your turn, and if you get a 6, then you can re-roll.
Okay. So there's rules that come along with it, and we've gathered that information over the study of time and a particular culture. So this evolution of gaming is not just about the game, it's about studying what's happening at the times that the games were introduced. Tell me let's fast forward to 2017. What would inspire you or motivate you to take a class like this? What do you hope to learn?
I hope to learn how to make games and like the rules that actually go into game making,
Okay.
because I'm also taking game design, and I hope to create games myself.
Okay.
So it's really useful to me to actually have a class now that I can use for my own future career.
So you're using the experiences in this class and the study of cultures to help you in terms of preparation for your own game design. That's pretty cool. And that's what you want to do as a contributing member of society? Tell me some of the background, like what have you done up to this point? Not about this class, but just as a student.
Last year I took AP Computer Science Principles, which is also a new computer science course. And in that class, for a part of our AP assessment, we were able to make our own app. And I thought that was really cool, so I made my own game. And I really enjoyed it, and I thought, well, if I really like it that much, why don't I just do it for a career?
That is very cool. So where do you hope this class takes you? I know we're at and your teacher talked a little bit about the area where you're studying right now. Where do you hope to end your experience in this particular class? What do you hope it does for you?
I hope that I get to learn rule making for the games that I want to make, and like other factors that go into game making, because it's not just about like the visuals, because there's so many other things that go into games too.
Nice. Well, good luck. Thank you so much for joining us, and appreciate your time.
Thank you.
So DJ, thanks a lot for joining us and sharing a little bit about your experiences here in this gaming class. Tell me, what inspired you to take this as one of your electives?
Well, my friend told me about this class, and I thought it was really interesting that there was a class that taught history, but you could play games to help you learn about it.
Awesome. Do you have any experience in this world, or are you a gamer?
Yeah, I've been playing games since I was about 7, and I had a Wii when I was 7, so I'd play that a lot after school.
So nice fit. So you were an end user, now you're getting into how the game works and what it all goes into it?
Yeah.
Is that something you're interested in doing, or just time, right place type of thing?
Yeah, it's something I'm interested in doing because I like playing games, and it'd be cool to make a game that other people would like to play.
Nice. So I know we started with and Maria did a nice job explaining what this game does. Tell me some of your understandings of the principles of games in and of themselves. Like, what do you hope to gather from this class?
I want to learn how to make rules, like she said, about games, and how to put more elements into games other than just the visuals.
So you're going to expand the complexity of the actual experience.
Yeah.
Nice. Give me an example of some things you've learned so far.
About the game, so it's a race game, and what you would have to do is make your piece go from here to right here if you wanted to get off the board. So if you rolled like a 1 through 4, then you'd move that amount of spaces.
Corresponding spaces, right.
Yes, but if you roll a 5, then you'd skip your turn, and then if you rolled a 6, you'd have to re-roll.
So complex for the time that the game was created.
Yes.
You're moving beyond that, though. You're looking to, the complexity of the things you're thinking about making are going to grow, and you're hoping to get those experience from this class. Mm-hmm. Where do you think this class is going in terms of what you'll be studying? Do you have an idea, vision, what will happen?
We're going to be playing more games and seeing how they relate to history. So we're going to be playing like some more strategy games like this. We're going to be playing racing games, and then board games, sort of like chess and checkers and stuff.
Okay. And it's my understanding that we're not just playing games to learn history. You're actually doing readings and some research and studying about the times in which those games were developed, right?
Yeah.
What have you learned so far about Mesopotamia?
We've learned that the Sumerians were really advanced, and they had a lot of time, so they made a game to fill the time, yeah.
And so moving forward, you'll experience new cultures and new areas of the world that did the same, huh?
Yeah.
Well, good luck. Thanks a lot, and I appreciate you spending some time with us.
No problem.
Steph, that was really incredible. What those kids are doing in classrooms out there really is amazing.
Yeah, you're right, Skip, and we are so happy to be able to offer them these opportunities.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of On Course. We really appreciate you being with us on this journey, and we look forward to seeing you the next time here on Course.
I'm Corporal Gamble with the Anne Arundel County Police. In regards to school safety and security, violence is not tolerated in schools. If you're having an issue with another student, I implore you to come down and speak to administrators and responsible adults and give them the opportunity to hash out your differences safely. Because if you don't, you could be placed under arrest and you could be riding with me to the station.